Dick Jol is in charge tonight from Holland. 18 days ago it was he who gave England a 93rd minute free kick against Crete at Old Trafford. How can we ever thank him enough? And two bull-like centre-backs in opposition, Martin Keown of Arsenal, Miguel Angel Nadal of Mallorca, born within 4 days of one another in the week that England won the World Cup. Can Arsenal win a place in the second phase of the Champions League? They're playing from the left. Arsenal's record against Spanish teams is poor, 2 wins in 9 attempts. Mallorca's record against English teams is unblemished. Not that they've met that many over the years. Their European experience is all relatively recent. Referee pulling things up for a free kick, and we can hear first of all from Ron Atkinson. Ron, as a former Spanish League manager yourself for all of, what, 96 days, what's your take on this game?
I think it's a great game for Arsenal. I think Arsenal will be kicking themselves if they don't win this. They're playing against a team that have a chance, but very dispirited and looking at interesting there. I see that Wenger has switched and he's put Freddie Ljungberg on the left-hand side and put Robert Pires across to the right, which for me, John, quite frankly, when he plays it, I think he's far more effective in that wide area on the right than he is on the left. He can get at people from there.
Here's Bergkamp. Henry to Vieira. It may well be that the inclusion of Christian Diaz in the Mallorca side with the injury in the warm-up to Ngonga has caused Arsenal to have that rethink. Back pass played by Grimondi. And the clearance from Richard Wright. Nadal. Christian Diaz. Mallorca's coach Bernd Kraus was in charge for last week's 4-0 home defeat by Schalke, but then was sacked the next day. There was also a string of 4 successive defeats in La Liga, 1 point out of 15 to take into account when the president of the club made his decision.
Yeah, they look very much as if they're going to flood the midfield, Mallorca. They've Paunovic, who was supposedly playing as a second striker, he's going to pull off and play in midfield, and Luquez, the lone striker, is going to play up front with plenty of support players.
That's the new man in charge, Sergio Kresic. He's been taking grooming lessons from Vicente Del Bosque by the looks of it. Lauren. Pires. Arsenal's home record since returning from Wembley to play their home fixtures here. Very impressive in Europe. 9 wins, 2 draws, no defeats. Bergkamp. Lauren. Martin Keown selected alongside Sol Campbell tonight. No place for the first time in a month for Matthew Upson.
I think that makes sense to me. I think, the 2 experienced internationals have played together. I also think it will help Campbell better. Upson's played quite well, actually, in the games he's played. But I think Campbell will play better alongside the experience of Keown. And believe me, in a game of this magnitude, Keown is important. His experience and his ability, of course, to get in up for corners and nick a goal.
Here's Henry. And Arsenal need to see plenty of him with the ball tonight. Preferably keeping the ball. Grimondi. Vieira. Came off the foot of Fati. Ljungberg challenged and didn't get it. Clearance was by Paunovic. Arsenal 1 defeat in their last 8 matches. That was the game at Panathinaikos. And here's Bergkamp through the middle. Couldn't control it. Leo Franco still struggling. And then very relieved to see it go behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, you wondered about his lack of mobility. We understood he's only about 80% fit, Leo Franco. When he goes here, he's the sort of player that you wouldn't have been surprised in the least if Bergkamp had just nicked that while it's in flight. Probably taken it out of the air on a little half volley over the keeper.
Remember that goal he scored in the World Cup?
Well, exactly what I was thinking, against Argentina, wasn't it? Albeit the ball was angled the other way, but I fancied him strongly to get possession on that one.
That goal against another Argentine goalkeeper who would, but for injury in training on Monday, have been playing here tonight, Carlos Roa. This is Mikel Soler, one of 4 full internationals in this Mallorca lineup. Campano. Deflection on the cross, takes it behind for a corner kick. Van Bronckhorst been asked to slot in at left back again. He was rather uncomfortable on Saturday in the Premiership in that position up against Keith Gillespie.
Yeah, you just wonder how much of that the Mallorcan coach has taken on board and said, Campano, you know, really test him, get at him early on.
No surprise to see Nadal forward, the one-time beast of Barcelona. Too much curl on that. Grimondi. Not the best.
Was awful. You know, Grimondi's playing in there. I would have thought they play. I would just wonder why they didn't play Paul. I'm just wondering if Grimondi's playing in there to maybe let Vieira get forward a little bit. I mean, Vieira always holds, always anchors. But you just wonder whether Wenger said, hey, you're a big, powerful guy. You go and try and cause a bit of havoc with your power. While Grimondi stays at home.
I know Ray Parlour's none too pleased at not being in the team tonight. Hardly a week seems to go by without one of the papers linking him with a move to another major English club. Diaz. Be won back by Grimondi. 3 up for Arsenal here. Bergkamp looking for Ljungberg. Missed kick by Olaithola. Chance for Freddie Ljungberg, and the deflection took the way off the shot. Arsenal come again with Lauren. It's been a good positive opening from them. Prior to Pires. Nadal's pass also poor. Straight to Ljungberg. Here's Bergkamp. Pires by the penalty spot. Henry's up as well. Bergkamp. Well, shall we be polite, Ron, and say he's yet to find his range?
You know, it's amazing you saw that. You saw the little instance before that went over the shoulder of the last defender. He nearly pulled out the sky and he didn't quite make it. That particular instance there, Bergkamp had his real pump. You'd have bet money that would have been on target. He'd have been dragging it, tucking it inside and bending it into the top of the net in one hit. I still think they have a better shape with Bergkamp and Henry as opposed to Wiltord and Henry. I think they're very, very similar. Two French lads seem to play in the same areas of the field a lot.
Vieira. Rushing off the attentions of Novo. And it's broken nicely for Henry. Bergkamp's available. Couldn't get a foot on it. Ljungberg!
Good effort, Freddie Ljungberg. He loves the shot, loves getting in the box. Just wonder here, and you can't really criticise him. Have a look now. I mean, he's intercepted that while it's a good ball in. On the right of him, you know, he's got Pires. He just wondered if he'd have opened his body up a little bit. I mean, that's a good crack. It's coming at him early, and he's hit it out the air fine. But I think Pires is just having a pop at it and said, hey, I'm out here unmarked. But the one thing I like about him, John, is whichever side of the field he plays, he's always looking from the midfield to try and get in between the strikers in the box and make things happen.
Van Bronckhorst playing his 54th European tie this evening. Makes him one of the most experienced European campaigners out there. And there are a few. Yet to score for Arsenal. He did, though, score in a pre-season friendly, which doesn't really count, except that it was against Real Mallorca. The two sides meeting in their preparation for their respective league seasons in Austria towards the end of July. And Arsenal won 2-0. Keogh. Bergkamp in front of Nadal. Was out of play. Bergkamp thought that it had been put out by Mikel Soler, but it had actually gone out off him first of all. quite haven't played in the same team too often before. Not really a good enough scoreline at the end of the evening, but Arsenal won't be too displeased with the opening 10 minutes. Sol Campbell, who in contrast to Van Bronckhorst, who we were talking about a moment ago, has very limited European experience, only a couple of ties for Spurs, and this is third match in the Champions League for Arsenal. Pires.
Just wonder how temporary that is. Pires, since Ljungberg had a couple of efforts, Pires has switched across back to the left-hand side.
And here is Pires having a go at Fati. Was out of play, and it's Arsenal who get the decision, and Pires wants to take it quickly. Be well advised to wait for a few of his teammates to get up there. Both the centre-backs are forward, Keown and Sol Campbell. Vieira as well for Pires' kick. It's a good take under pressure from Keown by Leo Franco. And only Luque up for Mallorca. He's been found very accurately. Support arriving in the middle from Paunovic, not to meet a cross like that. Luque was the outstanding player in Mallorca's one-goal victory over Arsenal in the opening group game 6 weeks ago. That was a game that saw Arsenal play 80 minutes with only 10 men after Ashley Cole was sent off. Cole conceded a penalty, was sent off for the tackle. Ngonga scored it, and that was how it stayed, although in fairness to Arsenal, they too should have had a penalty that night for a fairly blatant trip by Nadal and Henry. Henry was booked for diving by the referee. Lauren, Bergkamp, looking for Ljungberg, goalkeeper quickly out.
Good move, best move of the game so far for Arsenal. Slick passing, good time run by Freddie Ljungberg, and a beautifully weighted pass from Dennis Bergkamp.
Grimondi. Arsenal looking to build on a solid opening. It's not been spectacular, but they have seen more of the ball. Van Bronckhorst, Bergkamp, Pires is wide. Two men to get past. Out by Olethola. Luque. Campbell coming out on top.
Yeah, you get the distinct impression looking at Mallorca, they're a team that are just waiting for defeat.
Many Arsenal fans will hurt you right, Ron.
But they'll play with a packed midfield, and when they do get possession, they can use it. But I don't get the feeling there's a genuinely belief about them. They've given the ball away unnecessarily on a number of occasions already.
Promise not to get too tedious about this, but if Arsenal win by 2 goals and Schalke don't win at Panathinaikos, then Arsenal are through to the second group stage, regardless of what happens in their game at Schalke next Tuesday. That's the luxury position for them. The more uncomfortable one is that if they lose, they're out. Van Bronckhorst.
You're talking about uncomfortable, you know. Novo has just felt the full weight of Vieira's reducer. Full marks to the lad he's got up. There's a few haven't. It's fizzed in here. He just rolls him there, but he's strong. Look at the strength. It's a big, strong blade.
It's Pires with the corner. Could have caught. Instead chose to punch. This is Bergkamp lining one up.
Certainly hit it well enough, but it's well off target.
Won by Paunovic. Campbell. Christian Diaz. Novo lost it to Bergkamp. And this is Ljungberg. Henry between two defenders, but Nadal was wise to that.
That was unlucky though. Tried to slide up into the gully just alongside the two central defenders, and Nadal just outstrengthened Henry.
Marcos. Seeking out Campano. Dealt with well by Van Bronckhorst for a makeshift left back. Pires. You're suggesting, Ron, that one goal will be enough to knock the spirit and the stuffing out of Mallorca?
Well, I would think so. I mean, I'm looking at them, and they've obviously got craftsmen, and they've got decent players by the fact they've qualified. But this season it's going wrong for them. But the number of times they've been, I think, feeble on the ball.
Bergkamp for Henry. Olaithola timed it well.
I'll exclude those two central defenders from that, by the way, Olaithola and Nadal. Feeble is not a word you'd associate with either of those.
Well, you certainly wouldn't say it to Nadal's face, Ron, would you?
I would if I was sat up here.
Henry. 6 goals in his last 4 games. Nadal. Mallorca earned their place in the Champions League for the first time, having finished 3rd, 8 points clear of Barcelona and in front of Valencia last season. More points, more wins, more goals than ever before in the Spanish league for them. Maybe their coach Luis Aragonés saw what was ahead, because he decided to leave and go down a division to Atletico Madrid in the summer.
He does that every summer, by the way, Luis Aragonés. Goes somewhere, does well, and goes back to Atletico Madrid.
Bet he's made a good living. Keown.
Oh, I thought that was going to be a delightful ball. Henry pulled brilliantly off the shoulder. Olaithola just couldn't legislate for it in the air.
Luque. Campbell across for Arsenal. Foul throw. Sergio Kresic only took his first training session with Mallorca on Friday. Mikel Soler. Campano. Van Bronckhorst in with the tackle. Marcos. And Pires, lovely turn. Super balance. 3 with him in this attack. Henry has pulled left. Ljungberg. No one within 30 yards. Loren. Nadal. Header with some meaning. Henry. And still Henry. That hit Marcos. A little more sustained, this period of pressure from Arsenal. Loren. Dispossessed by Paunovic. Luque. Hit Vieira on the hand, but it was inadvertent. Pires. Vieira a second time. Such a driving force. Lucky to get a second chance. Pires with a weak shot.
He is an absolute giant, don't he? Vieira. He loses it. Even if it's loaded 70-30 against him, he wins it back. That's a clever ball almost.
Sense that Mallorca are rocking a bit at the moment.
Yeah, they're very much a side lacking in confidence. The one thing Arsenal don't want to do is give them any encouragement whatsoever. I mean, they've obviously got players with talent.
Paunovic.
That's how often they've given the ball away or surrendered it cheaply, even in challenges.
Mallorca did win the first game under their new coach against Rayo Vallecano at the weekend, 3-0, but one should add that Rayo Vallecano are by all accounts awful. Bottom of the La Liga. Novo. Perez. Henry. Using that speed off the mark to find Perez. Vieira. Driven! And Leo Franco having to move swiftly to his right. Some power in that.
He's loving the newfound freedom he's got tonight. Instead of having to stay as an anchor man, turning up on the left-hand side, he's given that plenty. I think the keeper's made a bit of a pig's ear of it, really. I think he could have gathered that. But with Grimandi in there just playing as the anchor man, it gives Vieira all the license to charge forward. I think a slight problem Arsenal have, and it's one of their strengths in a way, is that Henry's such a good player, works the width so well, but he's also their best winger as well as being their leading centre forward.
Henry around Olaithola. Oh, tried to pass it into the net.
He buys the shot here, Olaithola. He looks as if he's going to shoot Olaithola. He's taking him on easy. He really can't get it out of his feet to hit the full blast on that.
Nadal. Hasn't realised it's a small pitch here at Highbury. It's only a yard or so out. Campbell. Grimandi. Henry. Van Bronckhorst. Arsenal really haven't looked in danger of conceding, yet to keep a clean sheet in the Champions League. It's Mallorca who for the most part have been under threat. Mikel Soler. Marcos. Campano. Faced initially by Van Bronckhorst. Two in the middle were waiting and hoping, but it's going to be a goal kick.
Campano suggests he's got the pace to go beyond Van Bronckhorst, but I'm not sure even he believes he can go past him. It's almost as if they're hoping they can.
Henry. Sticking to his boot like a magnet to a piece of metal.
So when he's out here, I mean, that is a good movement, and full marks to Ljungberg. He's the one midfield player I think that Arsenal have that will gamble. A bit unlucky he didn't connect there, but Henry does so much great work in the wide areas that he could do with an out-and-out centre forward in there on the end of that. Can you imagine one of your top centre forwards, a Hasselbank or somebody, going in on the end of that sort of cross?
Well, the referee has ruled that it took a nick off Mikel Soler. It's going to be a corner. Henry waits. Van Bronckhorst across. And the 3 6+ footers Keown, Campbell, Vieira. Just a flap and a flail from Leo Franco. Robert Pires!
Well, you think when he's had that, you think he's just going to hit the outside of the ball here and curl it in past the keeper's left hand, but unfortunately cuts across it.
Some excellent news coming in from the Group B fixture in Porto. It's Burbis 0, Liverpool 1. If Liverpool win tonight, they're through to phase 2. And Danny Murphy, who scored in Kiev last week, has scored in Porto this. The three fellow Spanish sides, apart from Mallorca, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Deportivo, all through to the second phase. Manchester United through, as we learnt last night. Terrific to get all three English Premiership sides, and who knows, maybe Celtic as well still through to the last 16. Fati. Luque has not really had a look in. Vieira. Comes out to Christian Dia. Ljungberg's won it back. Can he release Henry? Yes, he can. Chance for Henry. His first of the night. Arsenal will hope it won't be the last.
Great link-up play between Ljungberg and Henry. Henry's mate, watch this little darting run. Goes infield, he makes a diagonal run. He looks, you know, and he thinks the keeper's come away. I don't think he realises quite that the defenders had dropped off him, that he could have controlled, still maybe gone in on the keeper. I think he thought he had to hook it first time, because when he glanced over his shoulder, he thought he saw the keeper coming off his line. That's a great chance. Great movement, great through ball, great running off the ball, but end product very average.
Pires. Bergkamp. Arsenal growing in authority, through for Ljungberg, but slightly overhit. Oh, and then Leo Franco lost control, and then I think dragged it over his own goal line. It's going to be a corner. The pressure from Ljungberg.
Yeah, it's chased a lost course here. You think he really should be giving that up, but I think he thinks the keeper... Oh, the keeper's had to take it over, actually. Keeper's got himself into all sorts of problems.
If this leads to a goal, Ljungberg gets an assist. Keown making a nuisance of himself, bumping and boring on the goal line. Referee's seen it and doesn't like it. What, me? Yes, you. Pires with it. Fati's header away. Bergkamp. Take the control for granted. Pires missed the ball and the man. Now he's got what he really wanted. First the ball and then a free kick. It's growing, the pressure.
Don't worry, he's kidded him there a bit, Pires, you know. The lad really could go nowhere and certainly hasn't blocked him up, but full marks to Pires. But you said, as you say, the pressure's growing. They've got to score in the good times.
Bergkamp, poor by his standards. Poor by most people's standards. Pires. Keown. Grimondi looked like a little boy lost on his own on the edge of the opposition penalty area. The referee didn't like the challenge. Keep it down, the message to Sol Campbell. Olaithola. so long. Eventually cleared by Campbell. Too much interesting, not enough directness inside their own half. Doesn't look happy at all, does he, Arsene Wenger?
I think he might be slightly anxious, a bit nervous. He's seen his team dominate, but apart from that little situation there when Henry made the great cross run and didn't finish off too well, he hasn't seen his side take too much advantage of the... Well, they've got a great monopoly of play at the moment. They haven't really made too many things happen.
They have the players to make things happen, though. Here's Ljungberg. Almost laid it off to Van Bronckhorst. Campbell's header. There's a push in the back of Luque.
Most refs are to give that salt. Don't worry about that.
Lorre. Bergkamp. Skipping away from Diaz. Vieira. Perez. Or lined up on the edge of the penalty area. Ljungberg in ahead of Mikel Soler. Decent recovery by the fullback. Keogh. Ljungberg. Clock trying to suck the ball in.
I think the way they're shaped, Mallorca with just one fella up the field and a five-man midfield, I think I'd like to see Laurent pushing forward a lot more. He's very effective when he drives forward. He's playing from a support position at the moment, just feeding it forward and supporting. I think he's got enough ability to go into the last third, where I don't think, particularly on the right-hand side, I don't think Arsenal have hit the last third of the field too much.
Keogh. Ljungberg. Fortunate bounce. Bergkamp. Chipped in hope. Flicked off the head of Olaithola. Here's Perez. Possibilities here for Arsenal. Henry. Couldn't work it as he would have wished.
No, Perez didn't do him too many favours there, though. He put all the onus on Henry. That was almost a great cunning ball there from Bergkamp as he received it. That's just the end product of it. I think when he's come in here, he's asked Henry a lot of questions. He's fired it in at his feet. He's got defenders all around him. Very difficult. Perez might have been better advice to try and take that last defender on himself.
Mallorca have been very short of goals all season. It's 11 in 16 games for them. And despite that scuffed clearance by Richard Wright, they've not really looked like adding to it.
Now this is where I think Laurent could be making up the ground here. He hasn't got to worry defensively, but there's nobody. If this was to get crossed right across it, no, he's not going to do it now. He's got no options in. I think Laurent could be bombing on from there.
Out of picture, Laurent didn't get out of his own half as that move unfolded. Christian Diaz. Just too strong for Mikel Soler.
I tell you what, 3 or 4 years ago he'd have taken that over his feet. Soler, he was a player.
He's now 36, won the last of his 8 caps for Spain a good number of years ago. Keogh. Henry. No one there for the knockdown. And then Fati's clearance. Campbell slightly caught. And Luque making a nuisance of himself, and Luque getting a shot in that was blocked by Campbell.
Well, they say defending, you should be at your best defending when your team's attacking. That's when you focus more. This ball's come a long, long way before Sol Campbell recognised the fact he got a problem. He's used his strength, he's had a fight at the end of it, But if he had been in the wide awake club, he wouldn't have even been dealing with that.
Christian Diaz. Oh, another dangerous moment for Arsenal.
Great ball in that. Great ball in from Diaz.
Metaphorical boot on the other foot at this stage. Just about the first time in the game that Mallorca have put some cohesive, concerted pressure together.
Oh, they'll be very, very happy to keep the scoreline as it is at the moment. They've sat behind the ball. They've offered little as a threat, and all of a sudden they're watching Arsenal really haven't made many things happen. They've enjoyed a good percentage of play, but I don't think they've made as many chances as you would like them to have made.
The president of Mallorca, Matteo Alemani, on the left there, and Antonio Asensio, who's only 20, the club owner, on the right.
Oh, what's she having for Christmas? What's your dad buy you for Christmas? Football club.
Younger than most of the players. Let's make contract negotiations an interesting exercise. Olaitholo. Again, questions being asked of Campbell. This time the answer is more affirmative. Ljungberg. Vieira. Pires. Bergkamp, Henry, Ljungberg ahead of him. There's Henry. Just not working for Arsenal. And now an audacious attempt. Richard Wright always equal to it. Grimondi. Henry. Lost it to Paunovic. Here's Luque. And again they try and catch Richard Wright off his line.
Is there something in a Spanish coaching manual that says Arsenal keep us stray off their line?
You're not thinking Zaragoza, are you?
I thought so earlier when the fella had a pop earlier.
Naeem and all that. They got the wrong goalkeeper. Seaman's out injured. Here's Ljungberg. In for Henry! That's better.
That's the area they've got to attack. They've got Miguel Soler playing left back, been a great player. Now obviously in the twilight, very much the twilight of his career. Get at him, make him turn, make him defend, whips the ball across great, and that's almost a classic striker's goal. Striker front player attacking the near post. Good ball in, fired in, and that's virtually the first time we've gone down this side of the field, or Arsenal have gone down this side of the field and thrown anything into the danger zone.
Arsenal need to win by 2 and hope Schalke don't beat Panathinaikos. The news from Athens, Panathinaikos 1-up through Olisa Debe. So that is going Arsenal's way. Now they need to do the business themselves. Vieira. No foul. It's Paunovic who has the ball now, who made the challenge. Diaz. Pires. Bergkamp. Pires. Bergkamp left, Henry straight ahead. Now can he find a way through? Ball delivered at too great a pace to Pires. That was returning the compliment of a few moments ago. Lauren. Arsenal need something to show for all their possession. Pires. Ljungberg. Back for Pires. Read by Olaitholo this time.
Yeah, they're looking for little threaded balls to the middle, little 1-2s around the edge of the box. I still think the way against this team is to go wide in the last third and bring it and hit the ball and in around the back of them.
Bergkamp. Vieira. Keogh. Pires. Oh, Bergkamp, was he brought down? Referee puts his hands to his side. One Dutchman adjudicating on the tumble of another. No penalty, no foul. Right on the edge of the penalty area. Mallorca escape. Paunovic, Christian Diaz, back to Mikel Soler. Keown, Perez. Brought down fairly cynically by Fati. This could be the first caution of the game.
Well, yeah, I think he's paid the penalty for what's just gone on a little bit earlier when there wasn't a penalty. Nice threaded ball in. There's a tangle up. I think the ref's spot on from that. I think the referee's spot on. I think you've got a tangle between, I think it's Nadal and Bergkamp. I certainly don't think they actually dragged him down.
Nadal was involved in a tangle with Henry in the first match at the Saint-Moche 6 weeks ago. Should have been a penalty, but that wasn't given. Flag up for offside. Thought he was clear, but play's been brought back.
You know, he's just been punished for a magnificent piece of skill. I know foreign referees will give it when the feet are up in the air, but that was a magnificent piece of skill by Henry. He's in the air, he's glided a pass into Perez's ring. That is phenomenal talent. All right, most referees, once the foreign referees anyway, once the guys put their feet up, there's a chance.
Here's Bergkamp. Have to do it on his own. He's past Nadal. Tried the chip. Oh! What a fabulous effort.
Well, we saw two earlier moments of Bergkamp when it didn't quite happen for him. This is vintage. He reaches the scoop. He's got the last defender 1v1. He knows the keeper's off his line. He stands it over. Does the keeper I thought he got the faintest of touches. He hasn't quite. Agonising for Dennis Bergkamp, but encouraging because that's closer to him being at his very best.
Uttering a prayer by the looks of it, Arsene Wenger. Not quite at that stage yet.
I'll tell you, he'll be worried, Arsene Wenger. He's seen his side play a poor side and not put them to bed yet.
It's never straightforward with Arsenal, is it? But a wonderful moment from Dennis Bergkamp. Just what the game needed, what Arsenal needed, was for it to drop inside rather than outside the post.
I mean, he's tucked it around one side. We're right behind that as it's going, and for all the world, that looks as if it's just going to flake off the inside of the post.
Ljungberg. Grimaldi's made a fairly forceful run. Ljungberg's won the throw.
I still think Perez would have been better operating on this side of the field to have a go at Soler. When he goes out on the left-hand side, Perez, he's often just cutting back it all.
Bergkamp. Can Ljungberg get there? Mikel Soler had a couple of yard starts. And that was a push by the very experienced Spanish defender. Rather rash because Ljungberg wasn't going anywhere immediately. Campbell. The spearhead backed up by Vieira. Goalkeeper anxious to repossession some of his defenders. He had one on the near post, now he doesn't. It's going to be a corner. Once more, a chance for Arsenal to swing a centre in as we move into stoppage time.
They could also do with putting one into the area which is going to cause problems. They haven't really at the moment.
handball. Pires! It's a good firm strike. Van Bronckhorst. And Mikel Soler will get rid of it. Or should have got rid of it. Van Bronckhorst with another chance. Mallorca frail. Arsenal yet to find a way past them though. This is Grimaudy, deflection on the cross. Lauren. Goalkeeper started to come. Henri. May have seen on the screen in the background 2 additional minutes being played at the end of this half. What will Arsene Wenger's team talk consist of, do you believe, Ron?
I think he'll be talking patience. He'll be talking about we don't have to go willy-nilly. We don't have to do this. I think they've got to drive hard at the game. I certainly think they've got a team there that was waiting to get beat, and to a certain extent they're starting to encourage them into the game.
Ljungberg.
Great ball. Great ball.
Spread for Pires. Henri late in arriving. Ljungberg's there as well. Appeals for handball from Ljungberg. The referee has consulted his watch. Now had the 2 additional minutes. And that is half-time. Closest that Arsenal have come. Dennis Bergkamp's exquisite chip. There was also a penalty shout against Miguel Angel Nadal that was turned down.